Well, joining me on the set is Ibrahim Shakir. He's a fellow in foreign policy in the Brookings Doha Centre here in Qatar. Ibrahim Shakir, let's talk first about the international response to this crisis. I mean, we finally heard from President Obama. He says Israel has a right to defend itself, but the British Foreign Secretary says Israel will lose international support if it launches a ground war. So put this all into context for us. What does it mean, and has this response been a little bit too late?
Well, a number of points is to mention here. One is that let's start with Obama. I think the Obama response has been perfectly in line with the traditional response that usually comes from the White House. Vague statements and accusing one party, and in this case it's always the Palestinian party, that being responsible about the attacks and responsible about the violence, which is, in my view, this is in fact contributing to the crisis rather than resolving the crisis, because you can't assume that the violence is coming only from one party of the conflict. There are two parties that they are fighting, and to single out one party, I think, is contributing to the crisis rather than resolving it. That's one. Two is that when you talk about, or the Obama administration talks about the launching of rockets and the attacks from Gaza, he's ignoring, in fact, the siege that has been in effect for over 4 years now in Gaza, and it is contributing to the causes of this conflict, and it's really driving the conflict. It's driving the conflict, and that it got it to this point. So it's mutual. It's very unproductive is to accuse one party. That's one. Two, on the other side, which is here related to the British response, I think now the Brits are getting it finally, is that this escalation is not helping any party. And the fact that Europe is closer here to the region, and an escalation of this conflict to the region will definitely affect the European interest in the region at some point.
Okay, what about the Arab response? I mean, what's your assessment of the Arab League's surprising statements yesterday that there should be what they say is a new approach to the Arab-Israeli conflict? That's quite a bold statement to make, but it's not going to end this crisis, is it?
It's a bold statement, it's a strong statement, and I think it relates at this point to a new era, a new stage in this conflict that confirms that the situation has significantly changed between the past and now. And there are now more parties that they are willing to contribute to a resolution, or to a lasting resolution, because this is the first time we're hearing, not only from the Arab side, not only about the end of the violence, but also end of the siege on Gaza. Let's not forget, if this conflict ends, or if the violence ends, and you leave 1.5 million people, Palestinians, are under siege in the Gaza Strip, and you just stop the violence, and you have one party that goes back to its normal life, and the other party continuing to suffer about the humanitarian aspects, whether it's the food or the medicine or other parties, then you should not expect that this will be an end of the conflict. So we're going, most likely in this case, is to see more. And here is, there has been a number actually of statements, Israeli statements, is in control of the food supplies that's getting in Gaza, and the latest scandal about actually counting the calories that are getting into Gaza just to prevent the starvation.